Oh, she's giving kisses. Oh my god, you guys do it for the camera. I love you. I love you. Oh my god, ow, ow, it feels like sandpaper. Okay. Hello, gentle viewers. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Well, yeah, it definitely has. I have no excuses. I've been busy, but everybody has. And I think I lost some inspiration for a while, but we'll get back into that eventually. I've come back for a very important thing that I want to talk about that happened quite a while ago, and as soon as it happened I did want to record an episode on it, but I just was lacking motivation, creativity, all the things you need to make a semi-decent video. Also, I've got some updates. I have 2 little feline friends now, and yes, I do still have my birds. No, they are not around the cats. They're in my room. So you won't be hearing them at least anymore, but you might be hearing my little monsters running around, and they might make an appearance because contrary to popular belief, they actually do like their humans. So anyway, you'll notice I'm not cooking. I'm sitting down. The only other episode I believe I've done where I've just sat down like this is when I talked about when my life blew up. And no, my life didn't blow up again, God bless. Knock on wood that it won't, but something happened and I have been reluctant, not reluctant, I don't know. I've been grappling with it, dealing with it, healing with it in a lot of different ways, but I think sharing is really important. So just get into it here. So I have a new job. I think last time I got here I was interviewing for jobs. I tried a couple of things, but I ended up, I'm a sales representative for a point of sale system. So If you know restaurants that need a point of sale system, hit me up because I actually really enjoy it. Fits right in with my food interests. I love helping restaurants. It's helping me, awesome. But it's quote unquote door to door, more of restaurant to restaurant. So I walk in restaurants and basically ask them if they need help, take a look at their systems, see what I can do, help them out, etc. It's not for everybody, but I do think it's for me. I do enjoy it quite a bit. So obviously in this job I'm out walking a lot, and I walk alone a lot because I work alone. I work for a company, but we don't like canvas together or anything like that. We all have different territories. And I got followed, which sucked. If you're a woman, you probably aren't a stranger to this at all. But yeah, it was really shitty. So I was in an area, so I was in an area that is semi-notorious for not being the greatest of areas. But it was a Wednesday, and I usually canvas from 11 to 12:30 or 2:30 to 4:30. So I went on the earlier hour, and I was like, it's it's the morning. It's bright, it's sunny, it's a Wednesday, like not a lot of people are out and about. It's usually a pretty chill day, at least in my perspective, I think. And it was also the summer, so I was walking. I had a light jacket and a tank top on. And I say this not because it's important of what we wear, but I have a point to make about that later, of how I was feeling and everything. Let me just tell the story, whatever. So I'm walking, and walking down the main strip as I usually do, and there's this one little like there's like a building with like 3 or 4 restaurants in it of itself, like not a part of the strip, but it's on the road. It's just its own little entity. So I go and I walk through that parking lot to get to the door of the first place, and I hear some shouting, and I'm just kind of like, okay, like I don't know, I was taught like don't engage. So I went into the first place, did my thing, came out, and as I was walking to the next place, I still hear the shouting, and I realize it's being directed towards myself, which put me on high alert right away. But I was like, don't engage, ignore, don't engage, like maybe they'll just go away. I have been catcalled on this job before. I hate it. It's yucky, it's uncomfortable, and it makes you feel unsafe. Makes me feel unsafe, at least. Anyway, so I'm walking into the next place, and then, like I said, I'm hearing the shouting, and I hear it getting closer, but I'm like right about to go into the next place. So I was like, okay, I'm in the restaurant. Like, in a female's mind, in my mind, I was like, I'm in the place, like, should be safe. But no, this guy followed me into the restaurant and started trying to engage with me in the restaurant while I was working. And I get that my job's not particularly conventional, but still, like, I'm working, first of all, and second of all, it's scary even if I wasn't. And this guy comes in and he starts saying, like, oh, I'm a taxi driver, I see you walking, like, come in, I'll give you a ride, I'm a taxi driver, whatever. And I was like, I'm okay, thank you, you know, polite, whatever, even though what I would like to say is like, fuck off and leave me alone. But I was like, no thank you, like, okay, thanks. And you know, before this guy interrupted me, I was talking to somebody in the restaurant who I think realized that I was distressed and decided to help me out and like engage in more conversation with me. So that the guy who followed me and he left, I did my thing in that restaurant, and you know, I go out and I'm like, just don't look for him and don't look for his car, don't just walk. And I really, like, as soon as he followed me into the restaurant, I was like, I'm going home after this. So I start making my way back to my car, which is a couple blocks down, and so I'm walking and I don't see the guy, so I'm like, maybe he just left, like, we finally got it and he left. But then this car pulls up. It is indeed a taxi car, and it's the guy, and he's like, we're both in the parking lot, and he's like, let me give you a ride, and I was like, no thank you, but I said it a little more like, back off this time. And then I cut through, like, whereas he has to drive out the exit way for a car, I cut through, like, this line of, like, I don't know, there was, like, wood chips and bushes or whatever, so I cut through there. And I was like, okay, maybe I've lost him. And I saw the car turn down another road, and I was like, maybe he finally, like, got away from me, or, like, got the hint and, like, went away from me. And, so then I'm walking, unfortunately I had to walk through this group of like construction worker men, and they all could have been lovely people, but I was just not, I was not in the mood to be around any men, and I was just like, fuck, but I had to walk right through them because they were like right before my car. I mean, they were doing a job, but whatever. And I get in my car and I lock the door, and then as soon as I'm in my car, I look to my left, and the guy in the cab is still, like, he drove right past me with the window down and looked right at me. And it was unnerving, it was scary. I don't want to say like I was scared for my life, but it was definitely like really freaky. It really fucked with me, and I was like, I'm going home. So I went home, and of course, like, the whole time I'm looking in my rear mirror, and whatever, that really sucked. And that's only the first part of what I'm gonna tell you, because I've been dealing with everything else that comes with a situation like that. So I'd gone over the situation like a million times. I have gone over the situation a million times in my head. Sorry, my little kitty Bee is here. Let's see. Bee, you wanna say hello to the viewers? This is Bee. This is baby. This is Bee. Okay, go play. Oh, she wants to stay. Okay, so, so unfortunately, this man, he was a black man, and so for a while I was worried, because I was like, because, you know, obviously I hate, like, I feel like the term woke has been like grossified, but I try to be very conscious of people and not be a quote-unquote Karen or a typical white girl or whatever. And I was worried for a while that I was like that woman who called the police. I didn't call the police, but I was worried that I was acting like that woman who called the police and that guy who was in the park. And she was like with her dog and she thought she was like being threatened or whatever.
I'm gonna tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
And I was like thinking in my head, like, maybe he's just an aggressive cab driver, you know, like some cab drivers are very insistent. But then I don't know. So I was sitting with that for a while because I was like, was I the problem here? Was I being like a white woman on alert, you know? But then I was like, but how many cab drivers follow you into a restaurant and go into the parking lot that you're in? And I don't know. It didn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me, really. So as far as I'm aware, it was an ill intent kind of thing. And he also didn't take no for an answer like 3 times. So, yeah. So that really sucked. And while I wasn't like traumatized to sleep at night or anything like that, there was a couple of repercussions I'd been dealing with because of this. Like, I had been running outside again, finally. I used to love running outside when I was working from home for a while in my old job. And now with this job, I realized, wow, I can run outside again. And I was so glad. And it was nice weather and I was feeling it. And so I decided that I was going to run outside. And ever since that day, I haven't been able to run outside. You know, my therapist says there's a difference between like being safe and feeling safe, because I was telling her, I was like, it's ridiculous. Like my neighborhood, it's so safe. I've ran the trail a million times. It's also very public. Like, you know, I'm not like hiking through the woods here or anything of that nature. But sorry, my kitty is playing with my bracelet. It's actually really cute. Anyway, yeah, so I was like, it's ridiculous because my neighborhood's really safe, and but just because the place is safe doesn't mean I felt safe, and I still don't know how I feel about that, feeling safe. You know, and my therapist also asked me, she said, do you think that growing up in the bubble that you do made you more prone to a situation like this? And I said, I honestly think it's the opposite. Like, because I grew up in this bubble, like I try to be not like the people in that bubble and automatically assume that a place is bad just because people from that bubble had told me it was bad. So I think it's because I was like trying to prove to whoever, myself or the world or the town or the bubble, that it wasn't. I ended up, you know, going there to try to prove it, but like, no matter where it is, no matter how safe or unsafe it is, I'm still a woman and I'm still walking alone. And so any place is unsafe with that, unfortunately, because of the way society is. But I just hated that it was that area, and of course it was a man of color, because I tried to be a really good ally in that aspect, and I didn't talk about it for a while for that reason as well. If anybody is wondering anything, I don't know a lot about who it is or was, but I know he drove a taxi car, but it was like a red Prius with a lot of stickers on it. The area I was in, it was in Spring Valley, New York. And the reason I was telling you about my clothes is because when I was talking to someone close to me about this, and I was like, damn it, like, you know, it was hot, so I did, you know, put my, you you know, I did take my jacket off. My shoulders were showing. And I know if somebody said this to me, I would say exactly what my friend did. But she was like, are you kidding me? You should be allowed to do that. And I should. And all women should be. But of course, it's the first like, well, where were you? Where were you going? What were you wearing? And of course, because I think society trains this into a lot of women and men too, that if you're wearing some type of shirt or if you're in some sort of area, you're asking for trouble. And I wasn't. It was the morning, it was on a Wednesday, and I was doing my job. And just because somebody decided not to respect me doesn't mean that I was inviting disrespect. So, I had opened it up on my Instagram account like months ago because I thought I was going to do this months ago and I wasn't ready to do it. But I want to share with you a couple things because I did screenshot it, so just bear with me a moment. I had asked a few questions. Sorry, scrolling through all these pictures of my cats. And the first one was, ladies, have you ever felt unsafe walking somewhere alone? And 100% of the respondents said yes. 100%. And I know I don't have like the biggest following, but everyone who answered it answered yes. And that was 45 people. 45 for yes, 0 for no. And then I wrote, ladies, have you ever been followed? And I had 25 votes for yes, 10 votes for no. And then my last question was, if you answered yes to either question and want to share, here's the space. And I'm going to keep it obviously anonymous, but someone said, been followed walking multiple times and driving home, so even in the car. One person said, called the cops. First question they asked was why I was walking alone at night, 8 p.m. on my own street. Another person said, happened in Pearl River, which is, if you are from this area, it's a really common area where it's a bar area. A lot of people go there to drink. So it happened in Pearl River, and I finally got to a spot. When I finally got to a spot with people, he crossed the street. And this last person said, ended up calling the cops, and they said they couldn't do anything because he didn't touch me. So I feel like it's really important to share that because I think 2 out of those 4 respondents had actually called the police, and the police didn't do anything. Which begs the question, how do you prevent something like this if the people who are supposed to protect you can't help, or don't help, or won't help? And I don't know if it's can't, won't, or don't, but what I know is there's a problem and it doesn't have a solution. And why does it have to only have a solution after the trauma occurs? But honestly, not even after the trauma occurs, because this is an experience, like this experience for me was traumatic. Like I said, I'm not necessarily losing sleep, but I have parts of my life have altered because of this. I still haven't run outside since. I still don't necessarily feel safe. The other day when I was in the field in an area that was unfamiliar, but not necessarily a bad area, I started hyperventilating while I was walking alone. I've never been that type of person. Since I walk all the time for my job, I always wanted to carry light, but after that experience, now I have to carry my purse with both a taser, not a taser, I wish, actually I should get a taser, with pepper spray and, you know, one of those things. There's like I have like a heavy baton thing that I could whack the shit out of somebody with. Now I've got that too. The only plus is that it holds my business cards. But it's just wildly ridiculous that this happens. Not to mention, before this, I was catcalled twice. One by a young child, one by an older man. And people are disgusting sometimes. Men are disgusting sometimes. And just because my presence is there and I'm a female does not invite you to say whatever you want to me, to follow me, to, you know, encroach yourself upon my space and my bubble, especially while I'm working. All of these things happened while I was working. And it's honestly ridiculous. And it's gross. And I just want to put it out there to people that it does happen. And if, like, for a while I kind of felt like embarrassed about it because I was like, maybe I'm, like I said, I'm the problem. I'm making this too big of a deal. This is Pez. Or Monster. But it is a big deal. And it does deserve attention. And so I just think it's important to tell people that it happened. And I think it's important for me to share that it happened. And if you want to talk to anybody, or if you ever need the space to chat, or you have any comments or whatever, you can always comment on this video. Or my Instagram is Allie, ALLIE _Funch, FUNTSCH23. You can DM me anytime. You can talk to me anytime. I'm here to listen, and I wish there was a solution. There's not. I wish there was an answer to how we're feeling. There really isn't. And I'm just lucky this didn't make me upset enough to not want to do my job anymore, because I do love my job. But unfortunately it was really tainted by this man and other men who have catcalled me and said gross things. And, you know, I'm not very articulate right now. I feel like I usually do a better job when I'm feeling like impassioned. And not that I'm not passionate about this, it just sucks when it's your own issue and you're trying to speak through it. So it just, my memory card was full, but I was gonna say, without further ado, that's all I've really got for you today. All thoughts, no food right now. Hopefully I'll be coming out with you with some food within the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna try to get back into doing this regularly, at least once a month. We've got to be good for my mental health here. So I used to try to do once a week. We'll see what we can do, but I'm aiming for at least once a month. Hit me up. Let me know if this was something you needed to talk about. And on that note, I will see you next time. And so will these little stinkies. Bye, everyone.